The crisis. Aha. What happens after what happened? There have happened a lot of things the last couple of years. It started with COVID-19, Corona. And now we are not post-Corona, but in the interverum. It's like the interbellum between the last and the next viral or bacterial epidemic. And I'm not negative, but it's what virologists and epidemiologists are saying. We will ever in the future also have pandemonics. This is part of our lives. It can be next week, it can be within 40 years. You don't have to wait on that. There is more now happening, and it's known internationally as Charlie Foxtrot. Charlie Foxtrot was first used during the Vietnam War in the 50s and the 60s. Charlie Foxtrot CF means a cluster fuck. Now what is a cluster fuck? It's a cluster of crisis. It's not only post-corona or being in the interverum, it's also the energy crisis, the purchasing power crisis, the war, the lack of youngsters to be recruited in companies, etc., etc. The hell for the youngsters, if you know what I mean. Charlie Foxtrot. But the thing is, now I'm referring not only to psychologists and sociologists, but also to historians, to science people. They are saying that crisis being accelerated by civilization processes. We have civilization processes on steroids thanks to these crises. What does it mean? What is a civilization process? Well, a civilization process is normally a very slow turning, meandering understream going under the market or under the society, developing that market on a higher scale, making that market or that society better, more civilized. We see this happening since 400 generations, since the start of the Sumeric generations. We see every generation, the civilization processes go higher and higher. But when there is a huge crisis, like a pandemic, like climate problems, like economic depressions, like nature disasters, we see always afterwards that the civilization processes are going faster, are booming. I'm going to give you the examples. There are 12 civilization processes, well, even more, but I'm going to show you 12. Very fast. Health is a civilization process. We see the shift now from curative health into preventative health. More and more people, thanks to COVID, are now into preventative health, are doing clean eating, are using vegetarian or vegan stuff, plant-based. It's very important. Plant-based not only 0.0% alcohol, AP, NAP, LAP, alcohol, well, NAP, non-alcohol beers, non-alcohol spirits. You know, this is very important, enormous market. Digitization, boosted enormously due to the crisis, due to COVID-19 first, of course, e-commerce, streaming services, teleworking, enormous. More people, more frequent on the internet. More people using more of the bits and bytes today thanks to the lockdowns. This means more digitization and the need of digitization. But this means also more emission of data. And emission of data means that we can reach people more and more bespoke in a tailor-made way. If we know a lot of things about people, more data around, then we can make personalization in services and products. We can deliver personalized products and services thanks to more digitization. But also thanks to more digitization, security or a lack of security. Aha, interesting. A lack of security. More people using bits and bytes, more data being emitted means, of course, more cybercrime, phishing and sexting and malware and ransomware, more than ever, thanks to the crisis. fluid identity. Aha, fluid identity. Well, fluid identity, ladies and gentlemen, is your unique biography bathing in an egalitarian sea of diversity. Thank God you didn't understand what I was saying. It's about LGBTQIAPS+, if you know what I mean. It's about diversity. And we see more and more youngsters absolutely in the front having more respect for diversity. And thanks to the COVID crisis, this came up to the surface. Fluidity in ideas means that you have a more broad and rich way of looking at personalities around you. I'm going to explain this a little bit further on. Mobility is a civilization process. Thanks to the lockdowns, we could experiment on mobility. You can say, well, mobility, the car is, well, a weapon of mass destruction in a way. Yes, but thanks to the car, with also the economy growing. And thanks to the economy growing, we had a lot of money to put in, for instance, health research. A lot of men and women were also helped by mobility. Work shift. Work shift means that we are now more and more into telework. More and more people staying at home to work, don't losing the time in going to and coming back from work. We have the knowledge shift. More people are now into STEM education. The STEM students in Belgium has grown in 2021 with 7%, enormously. It was normally around 1% growth, now 7%, thanks to the sex appeal of virologists and epidemiologists in the news, in the media. More science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We have urbanization. Well, it's rurbanization. A lot of youngsters, the well generation, 30 up to 45, are leaving the city because the baby boomers are entering the city, buying a lot of spaces, a lot of apartments, and therefore the prices are up. And youngsters with young children are leaving the city because they need extra space for being able to telework. They need extra space and green stuff and balconies or gardens because they want to have oxygen. First instance, the oxygen, you know what I mean, thanks to COVID. So they are now leaving the city and going back to the pre-urban and rural areas. But the interesting is rurbanization. This is interesting. A lot of youngsters, around 30, 35, are leaving the cities, but they were in that city for at least 15 years. They've studied when they were 18 in that city. So they take their urban mindset with them to Zepperen, Zuursel, or other pre-urban or rural areas. Erps, Kwerps, Putten by Mechelen. And this is interesting. They inject some urban mindset in rural areas. And in the end, within 40, 50 years, the province will be a progressive province with a lot of urban mindset. So you have urban mindset outside the city. You only leave the physical city behind. But the mindset will be urban also in pre-urban and rural areas. Globalization is a civilization process. Globalization, get lost. The problem started with globalization, COVID-19. Yes, but thanks to globalization, we have also a remedy. We have the vaccines, thanks to cooperation among 5 continents. 50 plus, well, 50 plus, flat aging, not graying, flat aging. It starts when you're being born, 0 up to 50, it's a growing curve. But once 50, you have flattening the curve. Once 50, you stay 50. That's the idea. You know, 50-somethings are people who want to die young, but as late as possible. And this is what is happening now. Once 50, you want to stay 50 until you are dying when you're 50. 103 hopefully, but still 50 in the mind. Flat aging, and the end, sustainability. Or the South African word for sustainability is volhoudbaarheid. It's South African, volhoudbaarheid. It's more than ecology. It's ESG, environmental, societal, and good governance. So these are the civilization processes. I'm going to give a few of them to end up near to the end, I think. 10 minutes to go. Let's make 14 minutes for the same price. No worries, no worries. Fluid ID, for instance. What is fluid ID? It's what I said. Fluid identity is your unique biography, bathed or bathing in an egalitarian sea of diversity. It's about LGBTQIA++, but it's about diversity thinking also in terms of markets. Diversity is becoming very important. If you're blind, a few 100,000 Belgians are blind or near to blind and have the stigma of the white stick. Use this. This has been awarded during the CES fair in Las Vegas in 2021, the smart harness by Biped. It's a smart harness, you put it over your shoulders, and it has 3 little video cameras in different angles, and it looks for you around, and in your ear, the algorithm is saying, be careful, there is a light that is red at the moment, it will turn green within a few seconds. Or on the right side, there comes a cross cycle, so be aware of that danger. So this is thinking also in, for instance, adaptive packaging. Adaptive packaging, like here, Olay, for people with only one hand or missing an arm. This is what our client Unilever also is doing.
The battle against being told what you can and can't do. Your doubts, your fears. The battle against the limits, your own, and those that others impose.
So this is Rexona in Europe, it's Degree in the United States, the world's first adaptive deodorant, built with a diverse disability community. This is thinking in diversity as thinking very market opportunity minded. This is Nike Go Fly Ease for people with short arms, missing an arm or missing a hand. You put your foot in the first bar and it clicks. When you put your heel back to the ground, it gives you a perfect fit for that shoe. Or this is enormous interesting.
Handing over my card makes me feel very anxious and nervous.
Just a total invalidation of my identity.
I tried not to focus on that because it happens so often.
I used to have moments of anxiety and moments of panic.
It puts me in a place where I feel like I'm in danger. It just sucks every single time. They look at it and they look at you, and they look at it and they look at you.
Oh, is this actually you?
Are you serious? Oh my God.
Stop. That's so cool.
That's incredible. That's who I am. That's who I actually am.
This is so smart by MasterCard, and you can say, okay, but in Belgium we have maybe 4,000 non-binary or transgender people. 4,000 is not a market. But believe me, the number of people in Belgium only being non-binary or transgender is between 80,000 and 120,000. So this is a market. So thinking also in terms of diversity is becoming very important. I'm now going to show you something about Generation Z being very open, because diversity thinking means also that youngsters are more open, among other things, about their sexuality. The latest academic research in America, United States, United Kingdom, Scandinavia, Poland, of all places, gives an idea that 1 in 6 youngsters is lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender, according to their own expression. It says a lot of older generations being scared of being open about their emotions. and sexual orientation. This is so typical for Generation Z, younger than 25 years of age. They are saying what they feel and what they think. And this is a very good example of a Gen Z guy. Paddy Pimblett, who knows Paddy Pimblett? Someone? Only one or two when I ask who is. He's a mixed martial arts fighter, very popular. Millions of them know them. And this was a fight a few months ago. He won again one of the fights, and I think it was in somewhere in Britain. And he gave a speech in this beautiful British of him. Let's have a listen.
I want to dedicate this fight to...
He's 27, so he's Generation Z.
Little warrior. Like, more of a fighter than any of us will ever be. But also, I woke up on Friday morning at 4 a.m. to a message that one of my friends back home had killed himself. This was 5 hours before me weigh-in. So Ricky, lad, that's for you. But there's a stigma in this world that men can't talk. Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and you think the only way you can solve it is by killing yourself, please speak to someone. Speak to anyone. People would rather, I know I'd rather me mate cry on my shoulder than go to his funeral next week. So please, let's get rid of this stigma and men start talking.
This is enormous. This is enormous. Psychologists are absolutely admiring this guy. Talking to testosterone bombs, let's be very honest, to machos, that men should start talking. This is so interesting because the Generation Z is a generation in sorrow with a lot of mental problems. We know that. This is a third generation. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the core business of insuring. Absolutely, mental health is very important for that generation because it's a generation also known as the wee-wig generation. Wee-wig means what you hear is what you get. The Zoomers are saying what they are thinking. And it can be sorrowful, but it also is absolutely being very authentic and open. Zoomers, if you have some Zoomers in your company, understand them. This is a generation that is very thasophobic. What is thasophobia? Thasophobia is the anxiety of being bored. A lot of being burned out between 30 and 45, a lot of people being bored out between 20 and 30, according to Belgian psychiatrists. Being bored means that you have to give them pop-up projects. Otherwise, they're gone, because a lot of other people are keen to recruit them. Fluid identity. Last, connectivity, digitization. Let's have a look at this film. Maybe you recognize it.
The road diverges in the desert. Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you're driving horses.
Good evening, John Anderton.
We're John Anderton.
One Night Stand provides gourmet cuisine.
Minority Report, 2001. 2002, I believe, 20 years ago. All about recognition of faces, facial recognition. Today, this is more and more becoming reality. And what is so interesting, the next stage, next phase of technology is that of not only facial recognition, but of mood analysis, sentiment analysis. And psychologists are there to instruct algorithms to understand not only the data of people, but to understand the sentiment of people, the personality of people behind the faces. We can see if people are sad, happy, gazing, daydreaming, being bored. This is possible by using technology and mixing it up with psychology and neurology, neurophysiology. So sentiment analysis is being more and more becoming interesting to understand. And this is an example of an Israeli company. Interesting for insurance companies, for instance.
Hello, Tom. Here are some nearby businesses that may interest you.
Interesting. And this is possible also in the United States and some states. GDPR is making it difficult for us. Unless the consumer will consent, will say yes to the offer that an insurance company can put a micro camera in the car watching you when you are driving. When there is an accident and you are doing something else, the insurance company can say, haha, you have to pay. We don't pay you. But also interesting is sentiment analysis. If you are looking straight in front of you with your hands on the wheel, you could be focusing, which is good. But also you could be gazing, staring. That's not so good. And sentiment analysis can make the difference between staring, daydreaming, and focusing. And you get less to pay. The premium is lower when you consent with the idea of being watched by a camera. This is the Internet of Behaviors, IOB, and this is the next stage in technology and digital, in digitization, in connectivity. Data collected from the online or electronically recorded actions of individuals linked to their psychological profiles. So you have IoT, Internet of Things, and the top layer will be behavior analysis or sentiment analysis, named IOB. By 2023, the individual activities, according to Gartner research, Gartner is #1 research agency in the world in terms of technology. By next year, the individual activities of 40% of the world population will be digitally tracked in order to influence human behavior. This is a store in the United States, 90 branches, where you can enter the room. You have to agree that you will be followed by cameras and sensor when you are trying to figure out how these products work. New technology products. And what is, you pay less because the manufacturer or the provider of these products will pay for the market research given by you because you were recorded, followed, how to handle new stuff. So this is the future. I'm showing only 30 seconds of a clip. I'm going also to say that I hope that is correct also for you, that the presentation will be available in PDF, asking one of the guys and or girls of Oxygen. I hope this will be also the plan. Okay. So this is an interesting 7 minutes video.
Last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents.
Destroy the content. This was ordered by Berkeley. And this is a hipster of Berkeley, explaining the video.
This short film is more than just speculation. It shows the results of integrating and miniaturizing technologies that we already have. I'm Stuart Russell, a professor of computer science at Berkeley. I've worked in AI for more than 35 years. Its potential to benefit humanity is enormous, even in defense. But allowing machines to choose to kill humans will be devastating to our security and freedom.
Etc., etc. Interesting to understand also the flip side of technology. I'm at the end, and I'm absolutely ending with an idea of health. And everything is about oxygen, if you ask me today, at most about oxygen. Let's have a look at a health innovation. The Danish products will be launched later this year or beginning next year, Canary. But it shows also that fun is very important, also in this type of more serious matter. It's not only health, it's also thinking in terms of volhoudbaarheid or sustainability, thinking in terms of security, and thinking in terms of urbanization. In urban areas, in apartments, this should be working very good. So it's about oxygen and innovation. And this is what I want to say to conclude. If ideas are deprived of light and oxygen, how will we ever know what's possible? So you need oxygen to be more innovative and creative, if you ask me in a humble way. Oh, absolute last thing to show you, and then we're off, is the end. And because we're ending the cluster Fox, the Charlie Foxtrot. This is the end.
We live in a little blue ball in the middle of nowhere. And as far as we know, we or our planet will end one day. Think about it. Cause anxiety, right? Don't worry. We have something for you. Introducing a herbal infusion selection that provides you the calm to enjoy the end of the world. Being relaxed, enjoy the wide variety offered by our new herbal selection and savor the calm while you have taste. Do not suffer due to the huge meteorite that crosses the atmosphere. Look at those colors. They are wonderful. Feel like a smiling dinosaur in its last moments. Wow, it seems that was true. Those fucking giant hornets have eaten your Yorkshire. Don't worry about them. Soon, they will be eaten by the approaching fire, which, by the way, has already calcined your neighbor's garden. It no longer looks so pretty. A new nuclear war, polar thaw, tsunamis, even the brain-eating amoeba. Everything sounds like heavenly music with the warm cup in your hands. And remember, the end of days not only ends with you, it also ends with that person you hate. It feels better, right? Infusions to the end of the world. Enjoy the inevitable. Go to www.the-end-infusions.com before the internet goes down.